Today's webinar is going to be focused on mobility, just with a little bit of a summer tinge with it. So we'll get kind of into that a little bit later. But if you guys just want to hang out, the guided mobility session is going to be towards the end of the presentation. So nothing is required of you for a little bit, just your attention. And whenever we get there, there's no resistance bands required or anything. It is just you, me, our seats. You can do some of them standing. But like I said, that'll be towards the end. So for right now, we're just going to hang out and kind of talk about mobility, how it impacts us, why it impacts us, and why it's important to kind of practice mobility. So let's go ahead and get into today's presentation. So what is mobility? It is really just your body's ability to move freely and easily. It's a little bit of a combination of flexibility and strength, and it really helps support everyday movement and posture. And mobility isn't just for athletes or people who are in the gym all the time. It is for all of us. It impacts how we walk, bend, play with kids or pets, and enjoy activities like hiking, swimming, traveling. So it means moving ultimately with comfort and confidence. And we'll talk a little bit about that confidence part later. But in July, when many of us are outdoors, maybe not during the rain, or maybe not even in Florida, but even if you're traveling, this is the kind of time when people take some time off and enjoy some summer activities. Having your body being mobile really helps us enjoy the seasons more fully. And why does this matter? Mobility helps you be active and independent, which I know as we age, that independence is a huge one. So it's not just about right now. So like you said, we're learning this right now. Depending on your age range, these may resonate a little bit differently with you, but this is important to everybody kind of across all of the age ranges. And it's not just about being flexible or being able to touch your toes. It's about how easily and comfortably you move through your day. So let's break this down just a little bit. So mobility allows you to do everyday tasks without relying on others or other objects. So whether it's walking upstairs, getting in and out of the car, getting in and out of your desk chair, carrying groceries, or even gardening, just tasks that you have been enjoying throughout life. These are the small things that we often take for granted until they become difficult. The more mobile you are, the more confident and independent you'll feel in your body, again, especially as we age. And again, no matter where we are on that age spectrum, it is never too late to start prioritizing mobility and your physical health. Secondly, here, preventing injuries. A mobile body is better prepared to handle the unexpected. So think a trip on the sidewalk. Maybe if it's not super even, you got a crack going a weird way and you trip, or a quick turn, or lifting something kind of awkward. Think about your everyday. There's always something that we do that our body's like, that was a little bit weird. You turned a little bit weird. You used your arm to pick up your backpack out of your back seat. That was a little bit weird. When your joints and muscles are stiff, your body can't react efficiently, which makes strains, sprains, and even falls more likely. So think about some summer activities like hiking, paddleboarding, or even just walking on uneven ground at the beach. All of that sand. Mobility keeps you safer while doing these different activities. And then lastly here, reducing stiffness and discomfort. The more we move, the more we lubricate our joints and keep muscles from tightening up. This helps reduce that creaky or achy feeling after sitting for long periods or waking up in the morning. Regular mobility work can ease tension and make daily movements feel just a little bit smoother. It's not going to fix all of our aches and pains, nothing can, but it does make movement feel a little bit smoother and a little bit more comfortable. So whether you're commuting, working, or just doing activities, enjoying your weekend, overall mobility gives you the freedom to truly participate in life and really be active and enjoy all of these different summer adventures, and then ultimately support your long-term health without kind of feeling limited by pain, tightness, and even that fear of injury. So that's kind of where that confidence part comes in. Now you may think, are we struggling? Like, is this presentation worth having? Why are we having it? What's the down and dirty about mobility right now? We are struggling a little bit as a collective, maybe not just you and me, but as a collective. So 1 in 4 adults in the US experience chronic pain. Over 40% of adults over 50 have mobility issues. Arthritis and previous injuries can significantly limit range of motion. And then this last one, kind of how I was talking about different spectrums of the age range, sedentary habits contribute to reduced mobility in younger people. So many people don't realize how common these issues are. And a lot of us just chalk it up to, well, I'm aging. It is what it is. Sorry if you see my cats roaming around in the background, they're just popping in. But this is not just an is what it is type of thing. This is still your life. You are still in control of it. You just have to initiate that control. So pain and stiffness often, it creeps in slowly. Maybe it's a little ooh here and there, and then over time that builds on itself. And again, we chalk it up to aging, but often it really is our lifestyle, especially sedentary behavior, that plays the biggest role. That said, conditions like arthritis or past injuries from sports or accidents can also play a really big part in limiting mobility and comfort. So, what does all this look like? Are you struggling with limited mobility? Do you know somebody is? What can this typically look like? You don't need to have necessarily a formal diagnosis to have mobility issues. If your body doesn't feel as capable as it used to, or you find yourself avoiding certain movements entirely, that is maybe your cue to start incorporating some mobility work. Chronic conditions, again, like we just mentioned, arthritis or healing from old injuries can make movement harder, but it also makes it more necessary. Another early sign we don't always recognize is kind of moving more slowly or cautiously. So sometimes it's not pain holding us back, it's fear. Our minds and bodies are more capable than we tend to give them credit for, but they are also very deeply connected. So when we begin to kind of subconsciously slow down or hesitate, maybe afraid of falling or feeling unsteady, that can really signal declining trust in our body. This change in pace is often one of the first signs of reduced mobility, even before we notice that pain or stiffness. Especially after an accident, it can feel really difficult to kind of trust your body and yourself again, to have that control, because we don't want to get hurt twice if we have any say so in it. But from there, we just need to build some basics, a foundation of flexibility and strength, and go from there. The answer is not ceasing motion entirely. So kind of aside from that declining trust in ourselves, it can look like a ton of different things. These are just some simple. These are some common symptoms. So difficulty reaching, twisting, bending, stiffness after sitting. If you've been stuck at your desk for a couple hours and you get up and you're like, oh, my hips, my back, my shoulders, all of that stiffness. So your aches, like I just mentioned, hips, back, neck, knees, all of the trigger points. And even some things that are maybe not so common, or maybe that you haven't really noticed, like walking slower than normal, or a loss of muscle mass and strength in your arms, legs, and core. So, how do we get here? How do we get to this point? And it's not always intentional. This isn't something that's necessarily your fault, right? We live in a society where a lot of us are chained to desks, and that is just the nature of our jobs. We can love our jobs and appreciate the environments that we are in and be grateful for the jobs that we have. But it is something to still think about, that our habits really impact us, especially in the long run. So, and this isn't just about aging either. So when we speak of desk jobs, we can also think of commuting. I know a lot of people are in office or have a hybrid schedule, but I know some of you guys out there have really long commutes where you are sitting and you cannot move for at least an hour. that contributes to a limited mobility. And then just even long hours scrolling on our phones after work. We're tired, our brains are burnt out, we have peopled all day long. We just want to scroll maybe TikTok or Facebook, depending on your age range, and just sit there and rot a little bit. These habits build tension and really weaken key muscles that help us move freely. And again, if you've had past injuries, joint replacements, or conditions like arthritis, it becomes even more important to keep moving within a safe range of motion to maintain joint health. So, on top of that commute, desk jobs, that kind of falls into sedentary behavior, but also poor posture and repetitive movement. We think we're sitting in our desks. Are we always sitting up nice and tall, shoulders rolled back? No, no. We kind of fall into this little slump a little bit. Shoulders peel forward. We have our arms in a very fixed position with our mouses here. Our wrists get stiff, our elbows get stiff. All of these muscles get weak along the body. And then our knees. Our knees are stuck in a very fixed position as we sit. And it's not just relevant to desk jobs. This is also kind of for those field crew folks as well. If you are doing a repetitive movement based on your job duties, this also applies to you because most often you are working through that repetitive movement repetitively. There is not much you're doing outside of that. So while a lot of field crew is like, well, I'm active for my job, that can be it. Unfortunately, that can't be it because you have these repetitive movements to deal with. Additionally, past injuries, surgeries, arthritis, and then just overall weakness or inflexibility can result in limited mobility. So we're going to move into some tips. What can we do? What can we do? All of that sounded super depressing and very sad. And now I know you want to get up and shake it around a little bit, and we will, I promise. But outside of today's presentation, what can you do? Mobility does not happen automatically. It is very important to move throughout the day, not just during exercise. We think about it, we're at work for 8 to 9 hours a day. You go to the gym for maybe 30 minutes. You're doing great. That's fantastic. Don't let that discredit you at all or discourage you. But then you think about the rest of your day. You were sitting for 8 hours. And I know it can be super difficult to break that up depending on your responsibilities at work. But just small, consistent actions like stretching or changing positions every hour can make a really huge difference. You can utilize different things at your desk, like resistance bands or a foam roller, or even your office chair to keep moving. Whatever you need to just move around a little bit. And if you're dealing with arthritis or recovering from an injury, don't stop moving entirely. Just make sure it's the right kind of movement. So always consult with a physical therapist or a healthcare provider for safe, tailored exercises to get you to that point where you feel confident and comfortable moving through motions. So to summarize all that, moving every hour, best you can. Even if it's you just stand up, you sit down. You stand up, you sit down. Start small. Start small. You don't have to go on a 15-minute walk every 3 hours. If that is not reasonable for you, we're not going to commit to it because you're not going to be able to stick with it. So it doesn't matter. We don't care about that. We care about things that we can stick with, that are sustainable, and that make sense to us and each of our very individual positions. So move a little bit, stretch a little bit. Like I said, we're going to do some movements today that hopefully you can take with you and you're like, oh, wow, that felt really good for some of the tension I'm having. I'm going to utilize that and take it with me kind of going forward throughout my days. That's the intention of this session a little bit later. And then kind of what I just mentioned, alternate sitting, standing whenever you can. Maybe you have a standing desk, maybe you don't. Maybe at that point you just sit and stand a little bit. And then, like I had mentioned at the very last part, don't stop moving due to pain, and then follow guidance given by healthcare providers for chronic conditions. So key takeaways before we get moving a little bit, before we get moving and have some fun. That's what you guys are all here for. So mobility supports not just our fun summer plans like kayaking, hiking, all this, that, and the other, but it really supports your lifelong independence. So by caring for your body now, you give your future self the gift of freedom, the gift of independence, the gift of ability that you're able to continue doing as you age. And even if you're managing a condition, truly the right kind of movement can improve your quality of life. So, independence, reduce tension, everybody loves that. We don't want to be tense. We want to be free to roam. That's fun. We love that. Movement matters. All movement matters, no matter how small, no matter how silly it may feel. All movement matters. All right. We're going to go into a little guided mobility session. So I'm going to go ahead, stop sharing my screen here so that hopefully I'm a little bit bigger. We'll see. But I want you to go ahead. I'm going to scoot back in my chair. I want you to sit up nice and tall. Sit up nice and tall for a second. Maybe you got to shake it out a little bit, move around a little bit because we just sat and yapped for about 15 minutes. Go ahead, take a second. We're going to roll these shoulders back. Go ahead and turn sideways. We're sitting up nice and tall in our seats. Feet are nice and flat on the ground, sitting up tall. From here, we're going to go ahead, bring our right ear down to our right shoulder. You can close your eyes or you can keep looking at me, whichever you want. And then from here, we're going to go ahead, turn down our nose at our right armpit. Work within your range of motion, meaning we want to feel a stretch. Maybe it's a little uncomfortable, but as long as you're not in pain, you got it. You're doing okay. Go ahead, bring that ear back down to the right shoulder. We're going to go ahead, drop the head, tucking chin to chest. If you'd like to deepen this stretch on the back of the neck, you can interlace the fingers behind the head and pull gently, further tucking the chin into chest. And as always, big breaths. At no point do I want you holding your breath. We're just taking a little bit of time to slow down, check in with ourselves. If you have your fingers behind your head, go ahead and relax them. We're going to go ahead, bring the ear over towards the left shoulder, keeping the shoulders down and away from the ears. And we're going to go ahead, turn that nose down at the left armpit. And go ahead, return that ear to shoulder. And then go ahead, bring our gaze back central. If you want to move your head around a little bit, shake your head yes and no, up and down. Just take a quick sec. We're going to do a little tech neck reset. That is a bit of a tongue twister there. But I want you to go ahead, find a little focal point out in front of you. And we're going to pull the chin inward, creating the most beautiful double chin in the world. And we're going to hold it here. It may feel a little funky at first, but that's okay. Especially if you've been looking down at your phone or any type of device for a little bit, this is really good to kind of reset that outstretched neck feeling that we get. And go ahead and release. Take a second. Rock a little side to side. We're going to do one more of those. So shoulders stay down, chest stays up. We're going to pull that chin inward. You guys are looking fantastic, especially right now. And then we're going to go ahead and release. Kind of how I mentioned earlier about our hands and our arms kind of being stuck in this position. Even if you take phone calls all day, this is the movement that we're kind of doing. So we're going to give a little bit of love and attention to our wrists. So what we're going to do is we're going to send our right arm long, and you're going to point your fingertips down at the ground. With the left hand, you're going to grab onto those fingertips and gently pull them back towards you. Only pull those fingers back as far as you're comfortable with. Keeping that arm nice and straight. Good. Go ahead and release. We're going to bring the fingertips up towards the ceiling. Left hand again, pulling back on those fingertips. Good. We're gonna go ahead and release, roll out that right wrist a little bit. We're gonna switch. So we're gonna send that left arm out long, point your fingertips down towards the ground. You're gonna gently pull back on the fingertips, keeping that left arm nice and long. Remember, you're breathing through this. Good. Go ahead and release. We're going to point the fingertips to the sky, grab onto those fingers, and again, pull them back towards you. Good. Go ahead and release. Roll out both those wrists. We're going to move into a little bit of a prayer stretch. So you're going to go ahead and you're just going to place your hands together. You're going to actively push the palms together. You may not feel anything here. You may feel a little bit of stretch in the wrist. That's okay. We're going to go ahead and flip this. So we're going to go ahead and point the fingers down towards the ground. Now you might be feeling this one a little bit more. Just depends. And I have my hands right up against my body. Fingertips down to the ground. And we're going to go ahead and point those fingertips up. Again, remember, we're pressing the palms into each other. This is an active stretch. We are actively pushing the hands together. And then we're going to go ahead and flip. Fingertips down towards the ground. Push the palms together. And go ahead and release. Shake everything out. We're going to move into a little bit of some upper body here. We're going to go into our eagle arms. So what this is going to look like, arms start wide. We're going to bring the right arm over the left, and you're going to go and give yourself a big hug. We're going to walk those fingertips back on that shoulder. And if you feel like this is a good enough stretch here, you can hang out here. If you'd like to deepen this, we're going to have our elbows stacked on top of each other. And we're going to bring the hands to try to touch. Hopefully you're feeling those shoulders really opening up. We're still sitting up nice and tall. Big breaths always. And if you want to deepen this even further, you can begin to lift the elbows up. Wherever you're at, go ahead and release those arms. Shake them out a little bit. Shake them out a little bit. And go ahead and do the opposite side of that. So arms start wide. We're going to bring the left over the right. Walk those fingertips on your shoulders, giving yourself a big old hug. You can stay here, or you can bring the fingers to try to touch each other. It's also okay if you get about here. Wherever your range of motion is at is perfect. And if you'd like, you can begin to lift the elbows for a deeper stretch. And go ahead and release. Shake everything out. We're going to move into a seated cat-cow. So we're sitting up nice and tall, shoulders are rolled back, hands are just resting on your knees. As you inhale, I want you to pull the shoulders back even further, push the belly out, almost like we're getting a little back bend here, pinching those shoulder blades together. And as we exhale, I want you to round through the upper back, pulling the belly in, almost like a scared cat. That's how your back should look. We're going to inhale, pull those shoulders back, push the belly out. And exhale, round through the upper back, pulling the belly in. 2 more cycles of these. So inhale, push the belly out, pull the shoulder blades together. Exhale, round through the upper back, pull the belly in. 1 more. Exhale, push everything out, pull those shoulder blades together. And exhale, pull that upper back in, pull the belly in. Good. Go ahead and release. We're sitting up nice and tall. Next, we're going to go ahead and find a big wide leg stance here. Okay. Make sure you're sitting firm in your seat so you don't fall forward. Okay. We're going to go ahead, lead with our chest as we fold forward. So almost like we're pushing our chest out as we slowly lower ourselves down towards the ground. You can keep the hands on the thighs. If you're comfortable with your office floor, you can bring flat palms down towards the ground, or you can hold on to your ankles if your office floor is icky. We're going to take just a few breaths here. And then from here, we're going to go ahead and release the upper back. So meaning we're going to go ahead, sink even further into this fold. And you may want to grab onto the elbows. And we really just want to let that spine decompress. Let your head hang. Big breaths. Beautiful. We're going to go ahead and place the hands on the thighs as we slowly, slowly pull everything back up. We're going to take a quick second, shake out the legs. Big breath. Now that those thighs are a little bit warmed up, we're going to move into our figure four. So we're going to go ahead, place the right ankle on top of the left thigh. If you're unable to get your foot up to the thigh, you can go ahead and cross it down at the left ankle or along the shin, wherever you're able to get your foot. Work with our bodies, not against them. And just like how we were leading with our chest, we're going to do the same here. So chest up high as you fold over that front leg. You may not get very far. Your hip and glute may start screaming at you. That's okay. That's okay. Just means we got to do this a little bit more often. We're going to hang out here wherever you're at. Just a few breaths. And maybe with your exhale, you try to sink a little bit deeper if you can. And if you can't, that is perfectly fine. Good. We're going to go ahead, rise it on up, and we're going to switch legs. I'll bonk my cat in the head. We're going to go ahead, bring that left ankle on top of that right knee. Similar here, we're going to push that chest up high as we fold forward. Find a good depth for you and hang out there. As you exhale, if you want to sink a little bit deeper into the stretch, that's your choice. And we're going to go ahead and release. We're going to finish off with one more type of movement. We're going to go into a leg extension, which is going to hopefully feel good on the knees with a little bit of an ankle roll, because we got to show some love to the ankles, all right? So we're going to sit up tall again. We're always sitting up tall, always sitting up tall. We're going to go ahead as we bend at the right knee, extend right toes up towards the sky. From here, we're going to roll out the ankle, activate that quad, squeeze that quad, roll your ankle. That right leg, we're going to switch legs. So we're going to extend the leg at that left knee. It's okay if yours cracked just like mine did. We're going to go ahead and squeeze that quad, and roll out that left ankle. Switch directions. And then go ahead and bring that left leg in. But anyways, guys, that is all I have for you today. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, hopefully you had some good takeaways
for today, learning how to move our body a little bit more to kind of serve us better throughout life and as we continue to age.